Hello, everybody. Welcome to the AG News Show. I'm your host, Roberto Alvarez-Galloso, serving you the best in what is the greatest music sent from Christ. And I have the honor of having one of the members of the group from Alberta, Canada, Hope's Creed. For me, it's a pleasure and an honor having you.
Much. Thank you so much, Roberto. It's really nice to be here.
Same here. My question about Hope's Creed is threefold in one. Number one, how is Hope's Creed formed? Two, how is Hope's Creed in the present, and how do you see Hope's Creed in the future?
Okay, so Hope's Creed, my name is Jayne, by the way. I'm the founder of Hope's Creed as well as the songwriter, and I play piano, keys, synth, whatever we need and whatever you like to call it in the band. So I began forming Hope's Creed actually late in 2016, early 2017. I've been a songwriter. I'm 47, and I've been a songwriter since I was about 22, 23. So it's been quite a long time. And I moved to Calgary in 2016 from having lived 10 years in a number of different countries abroad. And during those different countries, I did develop my songwriting skills. I write in Spanish and in English. Now I write exclusively in English. I previously wrote a lot in Spanish. It was actually the language that I began my songwriting in, and it was the language that God called me to songwriting in. I'm married to a Peruvian, and we went to a Hispanic church for 14 years. So that's how that all came to be. So I've been a songwriter for a long time. When I came back to Canada in 2016, I had a lot of songs that I had written over the previous years, and I really wanted to form a band. So I answered basically an advertisement that was for an artist in residency at a large church, and at that church I began with together with the music pastor of that church, who was in the band for a time, recruiting members, just great musicians, great singers, and we put together a group of 9 people from numerous different churches in Calgary, and we began preparing our first EP and our first releases. And we got a very, very quick start, because right off the bat we were blessed to win a competition to play in an outdoor music festival here in Western Canada, and that sort of launched us very quickly into the local and the national sort of music scene. We were played on a number of Christian radio stations around the country, and as well as some internationally. We don't push very much internationally because we're not a traveling band, we're a house band, but we put out the best music that we can, and to the highest level of production that we can, and God has blessed those efforts, and we're just so, so grateful. So that's the answer to number 1. Shall I just continue with the number 2?
Continue. We continue. We're giving you a voice and talking about past, present, and future.
All right. Well, during COVID, of course, we basically went into a time of non-activity. We were still communicating as a band because there were 9 of us still at that time. There are now 8 of us, and 3 people have left, and 2 new people have been recruited. We've just been in kind of a time of flux, although during that time we did release our 2 Christmas singles, which I guess you've listened to. And
they're very beautiful. They're very beautiful.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So we were active in some ways, but not exceptionally active, as we were not able to get together. Way too many households, way too illegal. So we put a lot of our activity on hold. And over the past year, as COVID restrictions have loosened up, we've gotten together again. We're now practicing, or back to our regular practicing schedule. None of us are full-time band members. We all have jobs apart from the band, and we do the band on the side. So we give what we can, and it's just a real blessing that all these people that have families, jobs, careers, all sorts of other musical activities and otherwise, give their time and their musical and creative effort, because it's one thing to sort of recreate a song that somebody else already created. It's another thing in terms of the emotional and creative investment, the mental, I guess, effort in creating something new. So I'm extremely grateful to all of my band members that we get together, we create music together, we try as much as we can to perfect it together, and then we bring it into the studio where our producer brings it to another level, and then we get it out there to the public. So right now we have recently recruited 2 new people, because we, like I said, we had a couple of losses, so we've gone through some transitioning. But flip side, this summer we actually put together, recorded, and filmed a music video of our first, let's say, non-Christian song, hoping to get it out there to a wider audience, and hopefully, this is the prayer of every Christian artist, I think, bring those non-believing or non-Christian music listening members of society to hear some Christian music, so to share with them as well what we've created and what God has given us. So that's a song called Alberta Skies, and it is basically kind of a local song, but we're hoping that it's so awesome that people from other places will want to listen to it too. And that's kind of a first and only step for us. We're certainly not planning to camp out in non-Christian music, but we're just kind of throwing something out there and just seeing what God has planned for it. And our hopes for the future, we have a concert coming up, which is awesome because we have been on pause for such a long time. So recently, on August 12th, a church in our community of Calgary was burnt down, and it was targeted. Well, I should say that very carefully, because the guy that was out that night, the arsonist, really, he set fire to about 6 different things that night. So it wasn't as though he was out targeting churches, but in that, a church in our community was burnt down, and it was quite a serious, very devastating fire. So we're doing a fundraising concert in benefit of that church, and that's coming up on November 4th. So we're super excited to be on stage again. Together, we're partnering with another local Christian band with that. And then I think we have another concert coming up in February, and it's just, the wheels are turning slowly again. They're not turning fast like they used to pre-COVID, but they are turning slowly and steadily, and we'll be working on some new releases and just walking together as a family. Our band is very much a family. We get together apart from just our practices as well. There are spouses and kids and other people that are in our support network, and we appreciate that so much. We appreciate all of those people, and we're very, very grateful for where we're at right now. We're still alive after 6 years as a band, and I'm just grateful for that, because I am the only songwriter that we produce my music. So I'm extremely grateful for that outlet. So when God presses on my spirit that I'm to write a song about something, because that's what I don't get, like verbal messages from God, but I get a sense of urgency in my spirit that I need to write on whatever it is I'm hearing, whatever it is I'm praying, or whatever it is I'm experiencing at that time. And I try to be obedient. So I just try to listen to when he's pressing me to do something. So that's generally my songs. A lot of them come through either experience or prayer, or generally a combination of both. I'm going through something, I pray about it. I pray a lot about it, and sometimes I know when my own prayers are kind of turning into a song in my head. So at that time, I'll just sit down and write about it. And the band has been extremely receptive to the music that I bring to them to begin to produce, and I'm very grateful for that. So that's kind of where we're at.
Yep, great. I just want to congratulate you. on not only going to the non-Christian, but also emphasizing on the Christian music as well, because we need a lot of the
Oh, yeah.
Christian music. And one of the reasons, maybe you haven't gone international, but since I've heard of you from Crystal and from Elio, I wanted to interview you and give you a wider audience, because my blog has a wider audience in
That's so
Africa,
wonderful.
Asia, and the Middle East, even Australia,
That's
New
really
Zealand.
wonderful. Thank you very much for that, Roberto. You know, it's I'm sure you know this. I'm sure you hear this time and time again, but just the money that you have to sink into marketing and promotions is really prohibitive. And if you are a band that travels, it's one thing, because you're having regular gigs, maybe 150 gigs a year or whatever. But our band, there are 8 of us. Everybody, with the exception of one, has kids. So we're all just we're somewhat homebound, and we can travel a little bit, but just because we're not a non-traveling band, we just don't get that international exposure, and we don't also earn what we need to promote internationally. So I do really appreciate this.
Yep.
Thank you very much for doing what you do.
For me, it's a pleasure and an honor, especially when we're promoting artists who dedicate their lives to Christ. Where can we find the music of Hope's Creed?
So Hope's Creed is found on all of the major music platforms. So on all of your streaming platforms, YouTube, our website is hopescreedmusic.com. And we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, just under Hope's Creed. So you can always look us up under Hope's Creed Band, or the name of any of our songs, and that should come up. So, yeah. We do, of course, we are on all the international platforms, even though we don't travel internationally.
Right.
So you should be able to find us if you search for us.
Yep. I'm gonna be closing the show now, and then I'll be saying goodbye to Hope's Creed after the show. For everybody in the AG News Show, please take the road to Christ, and also listen to Hope's Creed. Not only because of the Christian music, but also the non-Christian music, and also because they are one of the people who will lead you to Christ via their music. There are many people who could get Christ via the Bible, and I do recommend the Bible, but there are also people who could get to Christ via the music, and then they could get to the Bible. And one of the greatest groups is Hope's Creed. Also, if you're in Canada, please take a look at their Christmas program, their Christmas show, and take a look at their very beautiful videos. Their last Christmas video touched me right here. Without much, I want to wish everybody at the AG News Show and around the world the best now and always, and God bless you. Until next time.